Excellent job here. Coach McNeil coming in the house. Good to see Coach.
Good to see you. How you doing?
Looking young among all these young players tonight. Coach Griffiths told us he's close to 50, but he still looks like he's about 38 years old.
Wow, close to 50.
He's getting on up there, but man, that guy still looks like he's in his younger days.
Yeah, he looks younger than I do.
Well, you play basketball still. You're still playing ball.
Every now and then.
You used to play a lot of pickup ball back in the day, though, right?
Yes, I did at the Y. I played a lot of pickup ball.
You used to play against Mr. Jenkins. He told me he played against you a few times.
Mr. Jenkins, yes, I did.
He was a good player, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was okay.
How about Reggie? Was Reggie also there? Reggie Perkins getting any games?
Reggie Perkins was there. A lot of the kids from from Gifford County that played in Gifford County would come through there and play. So I love playing with the younger guys, trying to keep me young.
Yeah, you're staying young, doing a good job of that. How young is this team right now? Are they hungry? That's the main question. They've got to be hungry. Talked to Coach Griffiths. It almost seems like last Friday night's game was like 20 years ago.
Yes, very hungry, ready to get back on the court and practice and play. Looking forward to the playoffs. This team last year was very young, and because they were very young, things didn't bounce our way a lot of the times. And so they went to work and worked hard in the offseason, and I think they're primed and ready for a playoff run this season.
How do you think our teams as a whole, the Guilford County teams, how do you think we'll do this year?
I think we'll do well. Really have some really great teams, really great coaches. I mean, Darlene Jordan, the things that she's done at Northwest is just impeccable. So really, Northwest will do well. Southeast will do well. They are really great at executing.
The kid that caught my attention on Southeast that last game, I guess, with you guys. I didn't see that much in the game when you played him at your place, but the Tinsley young lady had a good game, I think, that last game. Jewel Tinsley, maybe?
Yes, I don't know where that came from, but she really played well. I mean, in the first 2-3 minutes of the game, she had 9 points, all on 3-point plays.
And that's coming inside against you?
Yes.
That's when you're starting to say we got to make some adjustments here.
Definitely. It was we had some miscommunications on defense. Some of our kids thought we were playing man, some thought we were playing zone. Just a miscommunication, but after the timeout, really got their focus.
And you look at your team, you're going to be going east or going west? Or is that still up in the air?
It's projections are saying east, which is fine with us. I mean, wherever we play, as long as we get to play basketball, I think that's what the kids want to be able to do is go to the playoffs and make a playoff run, whether it's in the east or the west.
With us, Coach Frank McNeil, the women's coach, girls coach at Dudley. And it's a quick turnaround, too, because once you get into next week's sectionals, you would have maybe 3 games in 1 week, right? Something like that?
Yes, I think they play Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So, just trying to get the girls prepared, being off a week, just trying to get them prepared. So hopefully we'll be able to practice either tomorrow or Saturday, that they'll make that decision on whether we can practice or not.
That's a big decision to make because no school tomorrow, and they've got to look at you guys and think these girls need some practice.
Yes, and whether if it's in the East, it comes at a disadvantage because I know a lot of the teams in the East, further east,
they're
were able to play and back in school.
Yeah.
But the teams in the West, I know, canceled their tournaments. So it kind of, is up in the air.
A lot of people sometimes say they don't like the conference tournament because it's just games in between the big stuff later. But for sometimes, those conference tournament games are good because they kind of keep in a steady routine, pattern, habit right up to the sectionals.
Definitely, and I was just talking to my brother on the way over here. He's a coach in Charlotte as well, and he was talking about the Cinderella teams. And conference tournament is for those Cinderella teams. They gained a little momentum, maybe have dropped a game or two that they shouldn't have in the regular season. And I just think that canceling the conference tournament has really hurt the Cinderella stories.
Tell you what, it seems like it's crazy because they're down in the Raleigh area, the Triangle, they had to cancel quite a few tournaments last year, and we're doing the same thing again this year. It must be this time of year. Maybe we need to speed the season up a little bit or something.
Yeah, either speed it up or
delay
push it back.
Yeah, delay it maybe. It's definitely hitting people and hitting them hard. So you don't know yet where you'll play, but you have an idea, maybe an outside idea where you might be going.
Yes, idea that we may get the first 2 games at home being
that's good.
Number
that's
1
good.
seed.
Man, that helps.
I think that works well for us, having not being able to practice, just being able to be at home and being comfortable with the environment. That would really help our girls. So it really looks like we should get our first 2 games at home.
And that says a lot for that big win last Friday night again now. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that we focused in on after that last Southeast loss was we wanted to at least get 2 or 3 games at home in the first round. I mean, in the sectionals. Being able to do that really gives us a lot more confidence going into the playoffs.
Do you think that layoff is going to affect you much, or is it too soon to tell?
Well, with being around basketball all my life, sometimes it can help or hurt you coming back. Some people, after being off a week, come back and they have games of their lives. And then sometimes you have the worst game of your life. So hopefully it will work in our benefit and in our favor.
Tell you, sometimes that person has been injured or broken down a little bit. That first game back, they start shooting. Well, they can't miss. Right. You say, better get this done when they can, because they're going to cool off eventually here somewhere.
Definitely. And, that happened with Kiera a couple of weeks ago. She was out the Grimsley game. And being out the Grimsley game, she came back that Page game, and just her rhythm was a little off. And I told her, just keep at it, and it'll return back in the Southeast game, which was big for us.
A lot of importance with the Dudley girls right now this year, too, because it looks like, maybe I'm wrong, you can correct me if so, looks like the Dudley girls going to carry the basketball for the Dudley High School into the playoffs. The Dudley men don't look to be there this year.
Yes, and it's big for us to be able to represent. I think it's an honor and a privilege to be able to represent our school. Many times our girls program does get overshadowed by the success of our football team and our basketball team, our girls programs. And so I think it's something that these girls are weight that they're looking to shoulder.
And you look at it, when you get them into the playoffs and have some success, how do you get them over that hump? There's always that little hump you got to get over to keep things moving along, to get to the championship meeting with someone somewhere. How do you get over that hump?
I think that being able to win the first two games really give them that confidence that they need. I mean, over the past 2 years, we've exited the playoffs in the first two rounds. And so just being able to get there to that third game, I think it'll give them loads of confidence. And being able to play at home really helps out. So I think that will help out with that home.
Do you need a Saturday scrimmage? Maybe call in Northwest Guilford, let you girls scrimmage on Saturday. It's your place or their place, or do you need a scrimmage, or just need a good old-fashioned 2.5-hour workout?
Yeah, I think that I would love the scrimmage. Scrimmage against Northwest. I mean, like I said, they're a great team with a great coach. So that would be ideal, but I know that that's not a part of the association.
Quick answer here too. You may see them again next year anyway. You maybe a chance, maybe later this year, maybe around December. You may see them anyway, right?
Yes, I know that we're going back to the HACO tournament invitational, and yes, I would love to be able to coach on that stage as a head coach. Was there as an assistant coach under Chris Britton, and just love the atmosphere, love the stage. That was one of the things that she told me, is that it would be a big stage for us, and it really was.
A lot of good possibilities working there too. How do you decide how you're going to use a player and what position the girl is going to play? Because you got a lot of girls to choose from. You got a lot of different diverse type players, different sizes, different skill sets. How do you decide who's going to play where?
I decide on it based on defense. The players that's willing to play defense will always get the most playing time for me, because we really pride ourselves on defense, and that was something that I took from Chris Britton, and being an assistant coach with her, is that defense won a lot of games for us, and so that was one of the things that we wanted to push this year.
I asked you a similar question. I asked Coach Britton. She was there a couple weeks ago. We were just talking about basketball in general. I said, well, Coach Britton, you think you might want to coach men's basketball? And she said, that's one of my goals. Now, your situation, you're coaching the girls, but maybe down the road someday you go over, maybe coach boys even one day too? Or do you...
It doesn't matter to me. I mean, to coach boys would be an honor. It would be an honor. It'd be something that I would be willing to do. I think that I could make a difference there as well. But right now, I've always felt that the next big thing in basketball will come from the girls' side.
You're seeing it because people are talking about it. They used to didn't talk about girls much. Like you say, you talk about being overshadowed sometimes by the football program and the men's basketball program at Dudley. You're starting to see these different teams come around, and like with Paige, what they did with Paris Key helped women's basketball here. Shea Burnett. I mean, to me, and some people say this stuff's overblown. You guys on the website, I don't think you can overblow it too much, because the matchups back in the days of Paris Key and Shea Burnett, they were just great. I mean, it wasn't just them, it was both teams, but the head-to-head competition between two big-name players is good for a sport, good for schools.
Yeah, well, having coached against them and getting to see them firsthand, they were just really wonderful players. So anyone that said that that was hyped or overhyped, it's just, I don't know where they're coming from, but that is unfounded, because those were really two good players, and not just good players, but good kids as well. Having talked to both of them after games, wins and losses against them, and they were just really down-to-earth kids that are really good kids.
And you've had some good ones too. I would take any day of the week. A couple years ago, we did some interviews for your team after the game. We had several girls come in. And I think one of the last kids we got to was Kennedy Curry. I was saying, man, what have we found here? This kid's a talker. This kid can really carry the load.
Yes, she was a great athlete. It really hurt us last year when she got hurt. But she was right there helping carry that torch as a leader. She was there in practices, talking it up in practices, giving advice on the bench. One of the things that I can say about my kids is that I try to ask them for advice because at the end of the day, they're the ones playing the game.
Sure.
So even sometimes we may know as coaches, this is our game plan, but sometimes you have to reach out and say, what do you see out there? Because you're the one in the fire. And I always tell them the ones on the inside of the fire is the ones that yell loudest, but the ones on the outside of the fire sometimes don't yell as loud.
Exactly. The one I liked too last year too on that team, we didn't get to interview her here, but we give this kid a shirt off her back, McNeil Rouse. Rouse was just a gamer.
I would call her and her sister Lakaya Rouse, who both I coach, coal miners. And I would always say that they're coal miners because they go to work and they will work and will not stop working until the job is done. Many times, I always say coal miners get up when it's dark and they come home when it's dark. And those were the type of kids, they would not stop until the job was done. So
I'll tell you what, Rouse would get that ball to the basket, whatever it took. She wasn't afraid to go in there and take it to the hole.
Yes, very athletic kid and really had some really great moves trying to get to the basket. And like I said, her will and her desire to get to the basket really was, was key in a lot of things that we did.
How is she doing in college? She's still playing the college game, I guess?
Yeah, she's down at Campbell University. Spoke with her about a week ago, and she's adjusting well. Really working on getting acclimated to the college system, and but doing a phenomenal job down there.
Thinking about some other things with Coach Frank McNeil, the Dudley women's girls team with us tonight. Playoffs coming up beginning on Monday, probably going Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week. Hope to get a couple of games at home over at Dudley. What did you learn from those previous coaches you worked with while you were an assistant? What are some things you learned from those coaches?
One of the things I've taken away from Coach Britton is the value of hard work. One of the things that I can say is that she pushed our young ladies to be the best that they can be, and she did it through hard work. And one of the things that I took from that and implemented in this team was the value of hard work. One of the things that I tell our girls is that you may be more athletic, may be able to shoot better, but you will not work better than we will. And that value of hard work and putting in the time to get better is one of the things that I took from her.
Tell you what, like you say, a player can be talented, but if they don't work hard, they're not maximizing that ability.
Yes, and I'm sure any coach can speak of that they've had that type of player over the years that have been talented beyond measure, but just didn't work hard. We talked briefly about the Rouse kids, and one of the things I can say about Lakaya Rouse, not the most talented, not the most athletic, but darn it, she would outwork you. And when you looked at her stats would tell you that she was a hard worker. For instance, you look at rebounds. Rebounds is a work ethic. Taking charges and playing defense, that's a work ethic. And when you have that type of work ethic, great things will come to you.
And like you said, the key to your program is that defense.
Yes, definitely defense is a key. And we work hard on defense at the beginning of the year. I said I have to go back to the winning ways. Last year we focused so much on offense that we gave up defense, and that was one of the things that made Dudley High School girls successful was defense. And so we had to go back to that defensive mentality. So one of the things we did for the first week and a half of practice was defense. We have a drill that we call I Love Defense, and where our girls get in lines and they slap the ground and yell I love defense, and then we go to work defensively, working on defensive mechanics, defensive positioning, the movement of the hips and being able to turn, those things. So those are all things that we work on.
That's some good stuff. If they can be focused into that mentality, that's a good thing.
Definitely, and defense has really helped us overcome some obstacles this year, especially in the Southeast game. At one point in the third quarter, it was our shots wasn't falling. And so we called a timeout and told the girls, hey, pick up the defense. And once we picked up the defense, we were able to come out with some easy baskets. And that's been our mantra, our motto is that we want to turn defense into points. And if you can turn defense into points, it helps in winning ball games.
That's a pretty good chart total there, too, the points off turnovers. You guys create turnovers, and how many points do you get off those is probably a key thing for you, too.
Oh, definitely. one of the things that the girls can tell you is I'm a statistics guy.
Oh, that's good.
And
Yeah.
I look at the statistics, and one of the statistics that I've found out is that 65-70% of scores come off of turnovers, and so it's big in practice to practice your 3-on-2, 2-on-1, because those are the type of situations that you're going to be in for majority of the game. A lot of people like to focus in on running offenses, but I like to focus in on the fast break because that's when majority of your
I was going to ask you, because there used to be a time Dudley would run and they would run. They would actually, sometimes they may not come into that game having more talent than their team, but they actually sometimes would scare some teams away a little bit just by running past that team.
Yes, I remember back in our state title run in 2008-2009 season, the newspaper compared us to a small jet, and they said this team, once they get off and running, it's hard to catch. And people like Desiree Drayton, Helen Terry, Breonna Patterson, and those girls could move, they could run, and many times we would outrun you.
Yeah, and you just, sometimes it was a challenge between the teammates like Patterson and Terry and Drayton, just see if they could keep up with each other.
Yes.
Who's going to be the first one out on the break? I got to catch up with her. I got to get down there because there may be a chance if the defense picks her up, I may get that secondary pass on the 2-on-1.
Yes, and I remember sometimes in practice, Coach Britton would have them race to see who would come in first. And
that's good stuff.
And she would choose a kid, I would choose a kid, and Coach Jenkins would choose a kid. And I can remember those things. And you know, and it would really cause those girls to work and compete against each other. And I believe that right there helped our kids come together and be fierce competitors on the court.
Tell you, if there's a way you could get the kids to completely buy in, I still think what you said earlier, that 3-on-2, 2-on-1 drill, because when we used to have a 3-on-2 drill, you start with the 3 players, got 2 on the other end, the 3-on-2 becomes a 2-on-1 back the other way. You just run that thing nonstop. You get the kids combined that, they can run with that and do it correctly and do it to play good defense as well as good offense and not be sloppy. You could run that drill all day long. Almost.
Definitely. I can tell you probably half of our practice come off of defense and fast break, because that's what we want to do. Is we want to play defense, fast break, and then second to that we'll run an offense. I can remember. One game this year, I believe we were playing Southeast Raleigh, who was state runner-up last year, and I told the girls, I said, "Hey, no offense. Let's play basketball." And so
there were no offensive sets. Just let's go play and play hard.
Just play as hard as you can on defense, and your defense will become your offense. And many times you have to do that.
If you're a dedicated player, you're going to find ways to play the game when you get out there and recognize your open teammates and just play. Like you say, offense will take care of itself. You play defense. That's the business right there.
Oh, definitely, and we had to go to that many times against Southeast. Against Southeast, I can remember looking at Essence, and Essence was calling some play, and I'm like, whatever you go with, you know, I'm fine with, I'm comfortable with. And when you have a basketball mind such as hers, many times you rely on that. So, you know, I don't know, and it looked like at one point I went back and watched game film. It looked like she had combined about 2 or 3 plays together, and I'm like, I've never seen that play, but it worked.
It's almost like a pianist or piano player who kind of combines several different scores of music together.
Definitely.
Yeah, combining those. I saw a picture of her in the paper either last week or the week before, but I was saying this is typical, a true basketball photo. She was playing defense and went up for a shot. Let her go up for a shot against the defender. Her face is being rubbed against that defender's jersey. Yeah. That's true basketball grit right there, because who can not look back at the many times they played somewhere in a pickup game where your face just getting waxed against somebody. I mean, that's dedicated basketball right there. That's what you like to see.
Definitely. She's a hard-working player. I can remember she came in as a freshman, and she said to me she wanted to win a state title. And I reminded her of that at the beginning of the year, that, you know, state title? Yeah, well, I remember that. And so I reminded her of that, and she was willing to go to work on it. And she's just been a hard-working player ever since she's been at Dudley.
And that takes that kind of player, too. Because I remember back in the days of Essence Abraham and Mo Davis out there together, that was just a combo in that backcourt.
Oh, definitely so. And one of the things that I like most about Essence is that she grew up playing with and against Helen Terry. And
oh, yeah.
So,
which, good.
You know, was a great guard for us. So being able to play against a kid like that, or look up, idolizing a kid like that, you can tell that there are similarities in the game.
That's a good role model to look up to, Helen Terry.
Oh, definitely. When it comes to basketball, I can remember in that state title game, she wasn't playing well, and she looked at Breonna Patterson and said, "Hey, I'm going to draw the double team. you be really willing to shoot the ball when I pass it to you. And I remember in that second half, Breonna Patterson really went on a tear and got most offensive player of the game in that state title game. And it takes that type of kid to say, listen, I'm not doing well, but I value our team enough to defer. And I believe Essence has really played that role well this year.
I was talking to Coach Britton a couple weeks back when she was in here with us, talking about Drayton in that second half, all the free throws she got, and those rebounds, just tons of rebounds. Drayton was huge in Helen. I remember a play around mid-court. It was a loose ball. She went and got it. So this was like a turning point in that game when Helen scooped up that loose ball.
Oh, definitely.
Against Shannon Smith, I think the kid's name was.
Oh, yes. And, having Coach Desiree my first year, she was one of those type of players. I mean, she was a player who was willing to get into the grit and the grind of the game and be willing to do what other people were not willing to do. I can remember my first year. We played the #1 team in the country and played against Kalena Mosqueda Lewis, who's at UConn. And Desiree's job was to guard her. And she took that as a challenge and really had fun with it.
So you can learn a lot. I mean, girls maybe more so than boys, because sometimes athleticism is a little different with boys, where the guy's too much athletic against you. You may not be able to say, well, you try hard as you can. You can't get them. But girls, if they can learn to body up against that opponent, and she's not overly athletic, she can dominate, they can stay with her almost the entire game, just using that body and moving the feet, I guess.
Oh, definitely. She played well against her. I mean, of course, with Mosqueda Lewis being the type of player.
Now, who were you playing? What was the team you were playing?
We were playing Model Day. Model Day out of
California?
California.
Gotcha. Was that up in Washington?
It was in Washington, D.C., Title IX tournament. And she was ranked #1 player in the country. And I can remember in that game, they actually they deferred the jump ball. So we actually won the jump ball. And at one point, we're beating them by about 18 points.
You were up on 18 points, the #1 team in the country.
Yeah, we were up 20-2 against them.
Wow.
And
what a start.
Well, of course, Mosqueda Lewis just turned it on.
Decided to go at it.
Yes, and wow. I don't know if we lost that game because they were just that much better, or if I was in awe of the things that she was able to do.
Wow.
Being that she shot the ball like William Graves. And when I mean she shot the ball like William Graves, she could shoot it from deep.
It's like watching a movie, and all of a sudden you hit that stage in the movie, the frame just kind of changes, just takes over, and she dominates.
Yeah, she definitely did. But I mean, she was. You're talking about a kid that's 6'2", 6'3", and could shoot and had the body type of a guy. And you're talking about having Desiree Drake, who's 5'10" at best, guard her. But I think Desiree did a wonderful job.
Well, you led the #1 team in the nation 20-2. That had to be some kind of wow feeling among those coaches on that sideline. You think, man, this is ooh.
Yeah, well, it was kind of surreal. I was like, this is not happening. But one of the things that I did tell those young ladies going up there is that we're going to make a name for this little blue and gold team off of 1200 Lincoln Street, and we did that. We did that by the end of that game, even though we got beat by about 20 points. At the end of that game, we had their fans were cheering for us.
That says a lot right there. It says a whole lot for your team.
So so I mean, it was a really great experience.
Talk about coming from Ragsdale. You told me one time you came out of Ragsdale and then worked your way on in to end up at Dudley. Talk about how you came out of Ragsdale playing. I think you mentioned that gentleman Kit Boone back in the day.
Yes, Kit Boone.
Yeah.
He was a Duke fan. I was a Carolina fan at the time, or still a Carolina fan. But he was a Duke fan, and one of the things that he did was he preached defense. And
That's
so one
good.
of the things that I learned how to play early on was defense. The biggest part of that I remember was help side defense, and the key to help side defense. And so playing at Ragsdale, I played in the shadows of my older brother. My older brother was a really good athlete there, both football and basketball. And so I made the team, I can put it like this. Didn't get a lot of playing time at Ragsdale, but I learned a lot at Ragsdale.
Student of the game, like we talked about before. You loved it. Probably soaked it all in.
Soaked it all in. Didn't like it at the
coach
time.
probably didn't realize. He may have been thinking, you're thinking about the coach, about him in the same regard. He's not playing you that much. He may be thinking, well, just got Frank. He's just one. But he didn't realize you were taking all that in while going through. He was actually giving you a lot more than you ever realized.
Yes, like any other coach and any other kid, as a kid, you're like, I wish I could play more. I want to play more. I want to play more. I want to play more. And I was at that point. I wanted to play more. But now looking back, I'm actually glad I didn't play more. I was talking to I have 2 brothers that are really great athletes. One played at Ragsdale, the other played at Smith, and both of them got scholarships to play basketball. One played football, the other played baseball, and got scholarships. I didn't get a scholarship, and so. But I'm glad I didn't, because I look back now and it only molded me into where I am now.
Made you work harder.
Oh, definitely so.
Yeah, you saw everybody else getting all those things. You think, man, I got to work hard to get what I'm going to get.
Oh, definitely.
Where did you end up going to college?
I went to Western Carolina University.
Wow, man, you took some interesting routes.
Colorwee, North Carolina.
Wow, was there a basketball tank up there where you could pick up a bunch of basketball knowledge and information up there? Basketball tank up there?
Well, I was going to go to Morris Hill, where my brother went and played football, and then I decided Western Carolina. I wanted to step out of the shadows of my brother, and so wanted to step out of the shadows. So I chose Western Carolina, and went up there, and I was probably about 5'9", and tried out for the basketball team as a post player.
Wow.
And they were like, little guy, you're not going to make it as a post player. So I taught myself how to dribble over the next couple of years, and tried out again my sophomore year. My junior year, tried out and had a really bad stress fracture in my leg, and really didn't get a chance to make the team. I felt like I could have. And in between my sophomore and junior year, I grew from about 5'9", 5'10" to about 6'2". And so
you got the guard size then,
learning how to dribble. But those are things that help shape and mold me.
You kept trying, you kept working, you kept learning the whole time.
Definitely, kept learning, kept working. Worked out with some of the greats that they had put out from Western Carolina. Jarvis Hayes, who was at Western Carolina, who transferred to the University of Georgia, and then played for the Detroit Pistons when they won the championship with Richard Hamilton. So
it's not bad at all.
Just learning from those guys, playing against those guys in workouts, trying to make that practice squad, it really helped me with my game of basketball.
Did you leave Western Carolina, come right to Dudley, or go to another school in the beginning?
Actually, I went into the workforce with AT&T. I worked in data communications as a sales rep with AT&T, and I was there. And my sister played for Coach Britton as a basketball player, and they were looking for a JV coach. And I was at the time in industry, and interviewed for the job. She hired me as a basketball coach to be not the JV coach, but she hired me to be the varsity coach, varsity assistant coach. And as they all say, the rest is history. Came over to Dudley and started a career in education.
Did you have to go back to school to get some education classes, or could you take what you had at Western Carolina and head right into the classroom and teach?
I was able to take the business degree that I had at Western Carolina plus the workforce experience and come in lateral entry. Gotcha. And had to take a few teaching classes here and there. And the great thing about it was Coach Britton was my mentor, who was a great teacher over at Dudley High School. Was teacher of the year at Dudley High School, so really had a great mentor in education and in basketball.
Coach Britt was the teacher of the year there.
Yes, she was.
Well, I bet she had a stern class. I bet you learned some in that class.
Discipline was key. That's one of the
like
things.
Discipline. I don't know, man. I think I'd rather have discipline and had the alternative is just not be good, because the alternative makes you lazy. The discipline makes you work harder. They slap you. Physically slap you. Wish you could, and sometimes you may need it. But that stress, that push, is what makes people get better.
Yeah. I remember she came to me with some tough love after my first year, and she told me, she said, "You're trying to be the kids' friends instead of being their teacher, being the lead in the classroom." And she told me I need to straighten up. I wasn't going to be around very long.
Wow.
And so
some people wouldn't even tell you that.
Right.
I think that's a great thing.
And she's really, really stern, when she says that. But she does a lot of things. People don't see it, but a lot of things she does out of love. And so in taking over at Dudley when she left, one of the things she told me was, you need to step up and be the head coach and step out of the assistant coach's role and be the head coach, because you're going to lead this team. And so they can't see you as the assistant coach. Oh, that's Coach McNeil, the assistant coach. They have to view as Coach McNeil as the head coach.
That's some good stuff you learned along the way.
Oh, definitely.
You've had some good leaders, some good mentors, and that's worked well for you, no doubt about it. A couple more questions for Coach Frank McNeil, then we grab the Dudley players, bring them in as well. I would say what defines your coaching style? Probably that defense.
Yes, defense and hard work. This year we went to more of a mantra of work hard, do your job. I got that from Coach Bill Belichick, who I am a New England Patriots fan to the core. And my wife and my players can tell you I do a lot of reading.
That's good.
I do a whole lot of reading to see, I look at successful coaches and what they do. And
no matter
how
what
they
sport.
operate,
Yeah.
no matter what sport. And that was one of the things that they had. Work hard and do your job. And I tell our kids that all the time. If you work hard and do your job, we'll be successful.
Who's the game changer on your team? Who changes that game?
Oh, wow.
How would you define a game changer first? Maybe you want to give us that, your definition of the game changer.
Game changer is a person that's going to, as I said, work hard and do their job. Not going to try to do anything above or above their job. Just if everyone on the team do their job, I think that we'll be successful. And so that's my game changer. My game changer is the player that will do their job to the best of their ability. And I try to tell our girls, I don't need you to do 110% because if you're doing 110%, at some point you're going to tap out at 80%.
Yeah.
Just do your job 100% of the time and we'll be fine.
Yeah, if I got 5 players and they're all giving 100%,
Right.
I've got 500%. I don't need 100, I got 500.
Exactly.
Another.
And so I think that any kid that just do their job is the game changer.
If you had to go back and do it all over again, you do it the same way because you've had a pretty good plan going here.
Yes. One of the things coming out of last year was I kind of lost touch with my players. Sometimes trying to step out of the shadows of a great coach, and I'm sure many people have been there, is trying to establish who you are. And sometimes establishing who you are, you forget who you are. And so one of the things that I've always done was had that personal relationship with players, and I kind of had lost that last year along the way. And so,
did you try to get too tough? You think maybe?
I think I tried to get too tough.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy the game like I should have. And these young ladies make me enjoy the game. I mean, I enjoy coming to practice every day. I've missed them this last week.
This has been like a long hibernation layoff. This is going to be tough.
Yes. Monday I was like, man, I got to get back to it.
Yeah.
And so, just losing focus on who I was.
See, a basketball can be one of the best friends you've ever had. You know,
Yes.
a little basketball. I got one in the back seat of my car right now. I carry that ball everywhere I go. You never get a chance to shoot that ball. Maybe just pick it up and go.
Yes.
It's a good friend.
And after last year, I actually drew back on some of my sales experience. When I was working for AT&T and brief moment with Icon Office Solutions, they gave me a book that said "Getting Inside of Your Customer's Head." It's almost a 300-page book, and I read it from cover to cover. Wow. And one of the things that I wanted to know was, how do I get inside of my player's head, each one of my players' head, to get them to operate at capacity? Because at the end of the day, a player is just like a customer that you're going to see in sales.
Exactly.
And how do I present my plan in a way that they would accept? And I think that many of my players have accepted the plan. I'm not going to say all of them, but many of the kids have accepted the plan. And just being able to understand that I can't deal with this player the same way I deal with another player because of emotions, because of upbringing.
Background, yeah.
Because of where they are in basketball.
Yeah.
You have to deal with them differently. And the other thing is those players that need a little bit more attention, you have to be mindful of. And not getting a lot of playing time at Ragsdale helped me be in tune with the players that don't get a lot of playing time.
You've seen it a different way. Yeah,
Yes.
You've seen it differently. Tell you one thing, if the kids on your team now probably heard a lot of this already, but if anybody else would go back and listen to this tape, they would be learning a whole lot from Coach Frank McNeil. He's sharing some good stuff with us tonight, enjoying every bit of this. 20 years down the road, maybe a college coach one day. Who knows? I mean, you got the mindset to do something like that. You got the thinking process down. Where are you going to be 20 years? Any idea?
Well, being a licensed minister, Baptist minister, 20 years down the road, I would want to be doing something in the ministry.
Tell you one thing, ministry I've found over the years, you mentioned the sales force, similar to teaching and coaching. Ministry is also coaching.
Yes.
You got a team, you got a group of people you're trying to coach, trying to lead that group.
And I feel like I'm being groomed for that. With everything that I've done in life, I think that I'm being groomed for that. So I love basketball. It's my passion. However, helping people is more of a passion. My kids that graduated my first year can tell you, we were heartbroken. We went 25-2. We lost to Sierra Burdick and Company on our way to state title, and Southwest Guilford won it. And we were a little heartbroken until the scholarships came in when all 5 seniors got an opportunity to play on the next level.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. I've had successes, and I feel like the state titles will come as long as you keep your focus on helping the kids.
A couple of quick final questions, because Frank McNeil, we could talk this man all night. He's got it going in the right direction. I feel like that's the case. Stuck on a deserted island, got to play somebody one-on-one to get off that island, but they got to be a good player. Who do you play one-on-one to get off that deserted island? Got to get off there somehow. Who do you play one-on-one?
Many people would say Michael Jordan, but I would say my brother Michael McNeil. I feel like that he has the tools. He has the tools,
But you could beat him though.
I feel like I can beat him. I think I'm a little more athletic than he is. Of course, he's stronger, having played football. But
you're probably at a point now where you had advanced past your brothers. They had done so well, they had exceeded your work. But then you hit that 6'2" growth spurt. Now you've exceeded them. You're moving on to the top.
Well, I don't
Hoping
know. Hoping to, but I don't know if I would say
The day after basketball practice is over this year, 2015, hoping to finish on a good long stretch run. Day after practice, that day after is over, what will you be doing that day? What does the coach do the day after the season's over?
I would be preparing for next season.
Getting ready.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
It's good stuff. Already preparing for next year.
Yes. I've actually began to start this year, preparing for next year. Don't want to look too far ahead. However, still have players that will be returning and coming back. And so you have to begin to also look at those things. I think that if you begin to look down the road, you'll continue to be one step up.
That's good. And the big girl Morris, she'll be back next year too?
Yes, she will. She's getting there. I think that she'll be she's going to be key in the playoff, and she's